Vietnam veteran, paratrooper, 82nd Airborne Division. And I know some of the people in El Paso. You know China Boy?
I sure do.
I know him well.
Yeah, I just saw him.
Not
82nd Airborne in El Paso.
Special Forces also.
Yep.
I'm having lots of problems with some of these things going on in this country. I was born and raised a Democrat. My father said that Lyndon Baines Johnson made a Republican out of him. I served as fourth in the state legislature, on the legislative board of the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers for many years. Jimmy Carter made a Republican out of me after I saw what happened on Desert One and all the inflation. Now you talk about education. You know, the federal government only pays 6% for education in the state of Texas. Taxpayers pay the rest. My wife taught for 31 years and she didn't need a second job. I didn't appreciate you saying that people are getting guns, that everyone should have to register for a firearm. You can't buy a firearm in the state of Texas without filling out a federal form. They'll either flag you and you can't, whatever. Also, we have a huge problem with illegals in this country, and it's illegal according to the Constitution of the United States. We have to do something because you talk education, how are we going to raise all the money to educate these kids that are here? You know, we have citizens' children that need to be educated. We do. Now,
I want to make sure we're respectful, even if we disagree.
Now.
Let's be respectful.
Yesterday, Kamala Harris was asking Poland, the Polish president, if the United States was willing to take refugees from Ukraine. She laughed. Never answered the question. So we know where that's at. But we got all this coming across the border that we're paying for excessively. You know, the oil and gas industry, we've been buying 10% of all the oil imported in from Russia. Russia is the people who are facilitating the Iran nuclear talks right now. And we want to, why would we want oil from Iran, who's our mortal enemy? Maduro sanctions on them in Argentina. Hates the United States. We got a president and administration down there trying to negotiate oil and gas from Venezuela. Every time you put this oil and gas in a barge or a ship, you burn more oil with the ship, which also increases carbon in the atmosphere. So we need to get down to some real darn looking at what is right and what is wrong. And do you support CRT in our schools?
Oh, here we go.
It's all right, it's all right, it's all right.
Critical race.
So a couple things. First, I know that. Noah, can we work on that feedback? Got it? Okay. First, I know that everyone agrees that we are grateful to you for being here, for your service to our country, to your wife for her service to the community as a teacher. I actually think we probably agree, and you know, we can follow up later, but I think we agree on most of these issues. You said that nobody can buy a firearm in Texas without going through a background check. I want that to be the case. Right now, you can buy a firearm privately, and there's no background check. So, 8 people lost their lives in Midland, Odessa by a guy who tried to buy a firearm the way that you just described. You're absolutely right. Was unable to do this because of the background check, and then could legally in Texas buy from a private seller. Bought that gun, went out, and killed a bunch of people in Midland, Odessa. So, I think maybe we agree that there should be universal background checks, and I think that's a great start. I think we both agree that we should, if we need to, increase domestic production here in Texas, because you're right, I don't want to import oil from Venezuela. I don't want to import it from Iran for sure. I don't want to have to go to war or have anyone else's kids go to war to protect our supply line. So we agree there, and I want to make sure that we increase production in Texas. I want the jobs to be here as well. And I think you and I probably are both on the same page as well. We don't see CRT being taught in our schools right now. It's a course that is taught in law school. No, I don't think it should be taught in our schools. Yeah, I want to make sure. Look, folks, and a gentleman is asking a question that's on the minds of a lot of people here, so I'm glad he asked it. I want to make sure that when folks try to distract us or divide us on issues, like they're not teaching CRT in grade school right now. They may be teaching it in law school where it is appropriate, but they're trying to scare us about it nonetheless. I don't know why, but if we do get scared, we're not focused on reading retention or the fact that 7 out of 10 fourth graders are not reading at grade level in the average Texas classroom right now. Let's focus on that. Let's focus on those great teachers. Let's focus on those kids, their education, their mental health care. These are the big things I want us to get back to. So thank you for being here. Really appreciate your questions. Yes, sir. And then Cynthia.
Hello?
Hey there.
Okay. Hi, Beto. I'm Nancy from Port Lavaca, Texas. And I have some questions. So, recently